In this video, we are going to look at formation of covalent bond. In our previous video, at least we had a brief introduction to covalent bonding, and we saw some examples of compounds that take this path. So let's dive deep and see what covalent bonding is all about. So covalent bonding is all about sharing of electrons between nonmetals. At least in our previous video, we had a look at the fact that whenever you have a nonmetal combining with another nonmetal, the type of bond will have to be covalent because both atoms will prefer gaining electrons. So in this case, let's have a look at carbon reacting with hydrogen, and we see how methane will form, because in this case our methane is our covalent compound. So if you look at this image here, we have our carbon having 4 electrons which are in blue. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 outermost electrons of carbon. However, hydrogen electronic configuration is 1, and these ones in red are the 1 electrons for all the 4 hydrogen atoms. So when one carbon atom comes to bond with 4 hydrogen atoms, let us see what exactly happens. Remember, both of them prefer to gain electrons. So what will happen is that we shall form a structure of this type. We shall have carbon atom in the center with its 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, shown in blue dots. However, the 4 hydrogen atoms, 1, 2, 3, 4, they will all provide their 1 electron in red to be shared by the central carbon atom. So in the due process, we are going to see that we shall actually be having 8 bonds for carbon. Remember, at first carbon had 4, but now carbon is going to have 8. If you are to count the 8 electrons of carbon now, we shall have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because hydrogen is providing 1 electron each and there are 4, so we shall have a total of 8. So in this case, the electronic configuration of carbon will kind of be like this, will kind of be fully filled because it has 8. However, for hydrogen, which had 1, it will now be having 2 in the outermost energy level. 1 from it, this red one, and then the 1 from the carbon atom, giving hydrogen, each hydrogen atom, 2 electrons. And this is also true for the first energy level to be completely filled, just like for helium. So in this case, all atoms in the methane compound will be fully filled, and we shall basically be having the force of attraction between these electrons and the nucleus of the carbon atom, together with these electrons and the nucleus of the hydrogen atoms. That's what will keep these atoms together. So that's an example to show that actually carbon and hydrogen will be sharing electrons, but we are going to see a better version of it. In our previous video, we had a look at water being a covalent compound, and in this case we want to see how 2 hydrogen atoms can share electrons with 1 oxygen atom. When you look at this atom of oxygen, it has 6 electrons in the outermost energy level, all coming from its electronic configuration, which is 2, 6. However, this oxygen atom could love to have 8 electrons to be stable. The same applies to hydrogen. Each hydrogen atom here has 1 electron in the outermost energy level, and the electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1. But also hydrogen would love to have the maximum number of electrons, which is 2. So what we shall see is that this 1 electron will be shared by 1 hydrogen atom, and then this other electron will be shared with another hydrogen atom, as we are going to see. So what happens is that we shall form a molecule of this format. As you can see, one oxygen atom provides this one electron to be shared by hydrogen atom 1, and the same applies to this hydrogen atom. It will also bring its one electron. In this case, this hydrogen atom 1 will now be having actually 2 electrons in the outermost energy level. This one in X and the one in blue. Those are the 2 electrons. And the same applies to the second hydrogen atom. However, if you were to look at oxygen, oxygen initially had 6 electrons, but now it will be having 8 electrons. Let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the X, and 8. In this case, this oxygen atom will be having 8 electrons in the outermost energy level, and that is basically a similar electronic configuration to noble gases. In the due process, the hydrogen atom having 2, oxygen having 8, they will both be happy and stable. That's how a water molecule is formed. So let us have a clear illustration of a water molecule. We know that oxygen has electronic configuration of 2, 8 in this water molecule. At least we shall assume it has 8 electrons in total. And then our water has 2 electrons. So here we have the hydrogen atoms in blue. They have their 1 proton and their 2 electrons being bonded. One provided by the hydrogen atom, another one provided by the oxygen atom. So hydrogen has 2 electrons, as we had seen in our previous slide. However, oxygen, the innermost energy level, will have its 2 electrons. They are here. They are within the first energy level. Then we have our nucleus here with the protons and neutrons present. And then lastly, we shall have the 8 electrons being shared. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this shows that actual oxygen will be having the 8, will appear to be having 8, as hydrogen will also appear to be having 2. In this way, they will be happily bonded, and this will be what we shall call a covalent bond. So the force of attraction from the nucleus of the oxygen atom, these protons in the oxygen atom will always be pulling the electrons being shared. And the same applies to the nucleus of the hydrogen atoms. They are also pulling these electrons being shared. And this kind of force will keep these atoms intact. It will keep the hydrogen atoms and the oxygen atom intact, because they will be pulling and sharing these electrons in the due process. That's how a covalent bond is formed. In this video, we have only looked at 2 examples, that is formation of methane and formation of water. However, we know that we have very many covalent compounds like carbon dioxide and ammonia. Remember, most gases are actually covalent compounds. So feel free and try and see how the covalent bond will take place in these compounds. So let's now have a look at our top 3 questions. Question 1. Which of the following is correct? A, B, C, or D? Question 2. Carbon tetrachloride and urea are not covalent compounds. True or false? For this question, it could be easier if you had a glimpse of our previous video. We had a look at the different examples of covalent compounds. Lastly, question 3. In the formation of covalent bonding, dash of electrons takes place in the dash shells of atoms. Feel free to let us know in the comment section what you think about these 3 questions. Thanks for watching. If you find these videos helpful, please like, share, comment, and subscribe so that you are always notified whenever we upload new content. In our next video, we are going to continue with this series and we shall see properties of covalent compounds. Be well.